I'm Shelly Turner with the Builderall team. In this video, we're going to talk about working with a specific element known as a box, and we're going to learn how to configure that box to make it look exactly like we want it to look on our website. So I'm going to go into my Cheetah editor, and I'm going to go into Add, and then Element, and then I'm going to choose Box. And here I have many different styles of boxes. And we're just going to grab that very first one and we're going to pull it into our website. So I'm going to scroll down to where I have a blank panel and I'm going to grab this box and drag it over. And it doesn't look like I've got anything, but if I let go of the mouse, it'll drop it right onto that panel. So now I have a box on this panel and I can start editing. So I'm going to click on it first one time, regular left click, and you're going to get a mini toolbar. And on that mini toolbar, I can do several things. I can choose that first icon, which is to center it on the panel. The second icon is to hide it. So if I click hide, it disappears, but it's actually in the show hidden elements area. So there's my box component. If I hover over it, it will show me what it's going to look like if I put it back. And then I can click the little eyeball and it will put it back for me. And then to get rid of the show hidden elements bar, I just need to click it again and it will get rid of that bar. If I click on the box again, the next item is to duplicate. So if I click that, I can actually duplicate my box. If I click the box again and get that mini toolbar, I can click the delete button and it will start to delete. I have to confirm first though and click that's fine. And it will actually delete that box element. So that's the mini toolbar that we can get just by left clicking on the box. Now if I right click on the box, I have the ability to affect my style settings, animation, and some advanced settings. So I'm going to go into style first. We're going to talk about some of the ways that I can change the look of this box. So the first thing is size. If I click on size, I can manage the width of the box and the height of the box. So determine the size that you want the box by using the slider to choose the width and the height. Now I can go to minimum size. And basically what it's asking me is what is the height that I want this to be. This is going to be really important for mobile. Mobile, it will adjust for the width, but what height do you want it to be? So you can actually click and drag that, and that will help the mobile version to understand how tall it should be. But with the mobile, it'll only be as wide as the screen is available. The next one is background. We can choose a background color, or we can choose a background image. So if I choose color, I just click on that and I can change it to any color that I want to. I need to make sure that I've right clicked on the box so that any changes that I make happens inside the box. I can see it right away. So if you're making a change and you're not seeing it right away, that means you need to right click your box and activate it. So let's change this color to red. We'll change it to a dark red like this here. And you can see now that as I change it, I can see the changes happening on this side as well. Once I get it to the color that I want, I just click that color bar again, and it will close the color window. Also remember that if you want to add an image, you just click search, then it will search your digital file repository. So instead of having a color in the background, you can have an image in the background. You can also change the border of your box. And to change the border, you can just click the size of the border that you want, and then the type of border. So you can choose dotted, dash, solid, or double. I'll choose solid. And then the color of the box. Now remember, I'm changing things, but I'm not seeing anything happen to my box. So I need to right click my box, and then I can go and change it and change the color and make sure I choose what style. Make sure that the item is right clicked so that as you change the item, you can see it happening on your item. The next item is radius. And this allows you to change the corners of the item. So I can change the radius to 25 on each corner. And you can see now that I have rounded corners for my box. And then the last area is shadow. And this allows me to set a shadow for my box. Again, this box is not activated, so I have to right click to activate it. And now I can start adding the shadow. So I'm going to add the horizontal, the vertical, and I'm going to blur it a little bit so that it's not quite so sharp. And then the color is that blue. I think I'm going to change it to a gray color so that it works a little bit better for the shadow. So do a light gray like that. and that will allow it to kind of pop out a little bit. To get rid of this color box, I can just click the color bar again, and that gets rid of it. Also, I have Inset, so instead of the shadow being outside of the box, it will move the shadow to the inside of the box. So if I click that, you can see the shadow goes to the inside of the box, kind of giving it a bevel type look. But I'm going to go ahead and uncheck it and keep it outside of the box. So now that I've gone to each of the settings that I have for the style, I'm going to go to animation. Now this one allows me to animate this box on my website. So I've got a couple choices in setting my animation. I can animate it based on time, when it becomes visible on the page, when a person clicks on it, if they hover over it, and when do I want it to start once it triggers from one of these items here. So I'm going to choose to animate this based on a hover. And if it's based on a hover, I don't have to choose a time for it to start, but I do have to choose an effect. So I'm going to click on the effect, and I'm going to choose a bounce. And then the speed, I can choose to be slow, slower, fast, or faster. I'm going to go ahead and choose slow. And then on infinite, that means it will just keep going and keep doing that animation. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happens if I go to preview and I hover over this box. So let's go to preview, and now I'm going to hover over, and you can see that the box is bouncing. So if I go back off and then hover, it bounces again. So this is an animation effect, and there's many animation effects. So just check that effect area and see all of the different effects that you have available to you inside of the new Cheetah Builder. So once your animation settings are set, then you can go to the advanced area, and this is where you can work with layers to make sure that you're layering items and you can see the items clearly. And then also you can save this item and put it into your personal area so that you can use it again when you create another page, or you can even use it in another website in the same account. Now that we've looked at this in desktop version, let's go ahead and look what happens when we go into the mobile version. So I'm going to click the mobile, and I'm going to scroll down to where our box is at. So there's our box right there. That's the same box, but it's a lot smaller. So there's a couple things that we can do. We've got space all around the box that we can work with. That's in the padding area of advanced. But we can also work on the height, the minimum height that we require on the mobile view. And to do that, all we need to do is go up to this area where it says minimum height. And right here, we've got the minimum size as 50. If we want it larger, then we need to make it larger for our mobile version. And that's why you set the minimum size, because it affects the mobile version. So as you can see, I've got minimum size, but I can't change the size, because if I had size in here, it would actually change the desktop size. So now let's go and see what else we can do in the mobile version. So if I change the style, anything on the style except minimum size, it's going to change the desktop version. So if I go to background, you can see that I've got the color of red. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a blue color. So I'm going to change it to this blue. And I want you to notice if I go to the desktop, it is now blue. So anything you change on the style area, except for minimum size, is going to change what is seen on desktop as well. So to make changes to fit your mobile, you'll either have to hide this version, the desktop version, and create a new version, or you've got some capability to change some things in the advanced area. In the advanced area, you've got the ability to change padding. So if you're having a spacing issue, then you can actually change that a little bit. So you can see I can add some padding on the left, add some padding on the right, add some padding on the top, or add some padding on the bottom. And that enables me to fix some spacing issues that I may have on mobile. But if I change any of the style settings except for the minimum size, it's going to change the desktop. So be very careful when you go to the style settings in mobile, because that will change what's on the desktop. The only thing that you can change in boxes on mobile that will not affect the desktop is the minimum size in the style area. And then over in the advanced area, you can change the padding information. So I'm going to go back to desktop view, and we've covered all of the settings that you need to know on how to work with boxes inside of your editor. have fun creating something amazing in Cheetah.